at all.
So by way of introduction, yes. I'm Colonel retired Vida Otu.
Yeah.
I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife, I'm a public health nurse.
Nice. Great.
And a nursing administrator.
Well done. Thank you. All right, sir.
Yes, I am Enoch. I'm a general nurse and the secretary of the planning committee for this year's International Nurses Day celebrations.
All right. And then you?
I am Victoria Jamu, a member of the planning committee and a midwife of the Kolbu Teaching Hospital.
You need to add that. You need to add that. Yeah.
Well, my name is Bernard Nitetelaye, and I'm also a nurse at the Princess Marie Louis Children's Hospital. I'm part of this year's planning committee.
And how does it feel being part of the planning committee?
Well, it's been exciting so far. Yeah.
How does being part of the planning committee add up to your leadership skills on the field as a nurse?
Oh, thank you. So being part of the planning committee, it comes with a lot of tasks.
All right.
For which it's time bound as well. And well, going through such tasks helps you build your leadership career.
I see. I can see it's built a lot of you, and I can feel from your conversation. But as much as it has built, what details are in this year's celebration? Who would want to take that for us? Colonel, you want to do that?
Okay, so the details we have is today, when we leave stage, we are going to have some of our chairpersons of the specialized societies coming to talk about us, about the various specialization. And then it will usher us into the nursing, International Nurses Day tomorrow. After tomorrow's event, the 10 administrative regions will then go ahead and celebrate the International Nurses Week. And tomorrow we are going to have fun.
Anytime you mention fun, people sort of get like, they are going to chop our money, and So I mean, but what is this fun actually going to be about? Like,
yes, so we are going to have an opportunity to talk about the things that nurses we really would want our employers to do for us. You see, this gives us the opportunity for us to talk about our successes, the challenges that we are facing as a profession, and how best we as an association have worked on these challenges and are pushing for growth, for progress, and ensuring that the working condition of our nurses and midwives are improved. So the fun part of it is we telling our story and we having the opportunity to engage with our employers and putting our story out there. We are telling our stories ourselves, and that is what makes it fun, together with the dignitaries that will come around for us to have that discussion. That's the fun aspect of it. Bobby.
Yeah, great. I mean, talking about employers, it means we are expecting someone who is at the top, huh? So take us through who is coming.
So we have the Minister of Health.
Ish.
Yes.
I see.
When he comes, so he's in the person of Honorable Kwabena
Akando.
Mr. Kwabena Akando, sorry.
Yeah.
And he's the Minister of Health and also the MP for Draboso. When he comes, he will be here to listen to the keynote address. As my brother said, we'll be addressing the issues that we are facing. We'll talk about our challenges. Then, because he is in the position to implement some of these policies, he'll be able to listen to us directly and be able to also channel them out to the right sources for these things, for our problems to be catered for. Again, we also have the Minister of the Labor Minister, or Minister for Labor and Labor Commission. He is in the person of Alhaji Ibrahim Dauda. So he will also be here, listen to us, get to know our challenges as well, then be able to help us solve them. We also have our keynote speaker, a very seasoned doctor who is equally a nurse by profession, She is in the person of Dr. Joanna Ajimanieboa, and she is the head of Nursing and Midwifery Services of the International Maritime Hospital. So she'll be here to throw more light on our challenges, then also our strength, the things we are good at. When they get to know the kind of work that we do, it helps them, it gives them more information to be able to help us and be able to make decisions for us. So basically, these are the people that we have. There are other ones, I'm sure that my colleague will be able to also spell them out to us.
Okay. Kela, you wanted to chip in something?
So in addition to what she said, the special guest is the Chief Labor Officer.
Okay.
Alhaji Ibrahim Dawuda.
Yeah.
And then we have the guest of honor, being Honorable Nana Oye Bampo Ado, the Deputy Chief of Staff. That's why we were saying that it's going to be exciting when you have all these people lined up.
Great.
And then we are going to have our own president.
Yeah.
Mrs. Perpetua Oforiampo as the host of the program.
But you also have the chairman of the occasion, who is in the person of Dasibre Kweku Boateng III, right?
Right.
You are always able to bring very significant persons to our events. What informed this one too?
Normally we look at both sides of the coin. So we represent ourselves, we tell our story, and then we have our employers who are most the politicians, the stakeholders, and we also need the traditional, because we serve in communities.
Great.
We serve within traditional areas, and they carry the fatherly figure. So when they come and they listen to our story, they also advise and then help us solve. So this year we were informed to visit Dasibre Kweku Boateng III.
As the paramount chief of New Jabin traditional area.
New Jabin traditional area.
Yes.
And to inform you, he was more than happy.
Oh wow!
To have us and to be among us. So tomorrow, God willing, you will be here with us.
Yes. So what should we expect for tomorrow and then all activities as we wrap up your segments?
Yes. So tomorrow we are going to have a lot of fun, like we have already said.
I like the sound.
Yes, we will have the opportunity to have our own, tell our story, and then we are also going to have a lot of our members come here in person to interact with national leadership and put across what their grievances are. And then we also have cultural display, because we are bringing a chief, a paramount chief, and so all of this coming together
will make
the celebration a very memorable one, and we look forward to that.
I really hope that our conditions of service is going to be trumpeted on. Like, we can't leave tomorrow without our conditions of service. I'm just serving the information as the general membership voicing out. We need our conditions of service. So please, tomorrow, until we hear something, we will not close.
Yes, definitely. We are going to have a lot of discussions on our condition of service.
All right. And the theme is very interesting as you wrap up. Nurses and midwives, our future. Caring for nurses and midwives strengthens economies. We need our conditions of service.
Sure.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming. Unless you have some last words for us, Kenel.
So we want to take this opportunity on behalf of the leadership of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association to wish all nurses and midwives in Ghana and outside Ghana a happy International Nurses Day. We want to say ayiko to the good work they are doing, and we pray that as we come and we rally around the lamp again, we will be reminded that we have a charge to keep, and we have a generation to serve. And today also being the Mother's Day, on the same note, let us also take opportunity to wish all mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. We wish you well. Hope to see you tomorrow online and in person. God bless us all.
Someone sent a question about how you select people to participate, but I'm sure we will find an answer to that. All right.
Yes.
So if you've been with us all this while, is the planning committee in charge of activities for the International Nurses Day celebration 2025 that have been here to discuss with us all activities around it, and they have wished us a happy Mother's Day. Let me also extend this message to all mothers who are members of the association. Special happy Mother's Day, and especially to our mother. You know now. Yes, Antoine. So thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, planning committee, and we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we zoom in on the societies and everything that we need to know, how they have come to be and how significant they are to the association as we speak. Thank you so much, and we'll go on a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Yeah.
Your broadcasters, you look in your mind to purpose. You see them click, and if I can be baby, what's up? You can see you, me no feel kill out. I need to know you. Yes, I feel you. Somebody don't know you. I'm not thinking. I need to know you. You look at me. Somebody don't know you. I'm not thinking. I'm
I'll tell you why. There are 4 significant persons who are here representing the societies within the Ghana Registered and the Midwives Association. And when we say society, they are the individual groups representing various cadres of nursing profession. And today, I have my own boss, the president of my association here. So I'm going to be I'm going to comport myself. But then again, he's not here alone, with 3 beautiful women. So I will take their names and they will do the rest of their introduction. So starting from my extreme right is Miss Priscilla, right?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful smile. Miss Priscilla Na Aku Alote is an emergency nurse specialist, representing the emergency group, emergency nurses group, right? Great. And then Mr. Samuel Hanu is the national chairman of the Mental Health Society. We also have Mrs. Vera Isima Aka, who is the chairperson of the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses. Today, I'll ask you plenty of questions. You need to tell her perioperative. And then Mrs. Anita Yawson, Critical Nurses Society in Ghana. You know, when COVID came, or when COVID was at the height of everything, and all of you were running away, the critical nurses, they were inside doing all the magic. So today we'll ask them every question. So welcome, Mr. and ladies. You're most welcome. All right, so we go ladies first. Please introduce yourself and the group you are representing.
So my name is Anita Yawson, representing the Critical Care Nurses Society Ghana. So I'm the chairperson.
All right, I see. So all the critical nurses in Ghana, you are their boss now.
Sort of.
Yes, please.
Yes, so I'm Vera Asima Aka. I am the national chairperson for the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Samuel Kujo Hanu. I am the national chairperson for the Mental Health Nurses Society, and I also work with the Mental Health Authority.
You needed to add that. That's nice. Yes.
All right, and I'm Priscilla Nakwa Lote. I'm an emergency nurse specialist, and I'm the chairperson for the emergency faculty under the National Society for the Nurse Specialists. I'm the chairperson for the emergency faculty. I work at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital.
Right. So now, I mean, many people want to be clear in their minds. Why are we dealing with just 4 people? Because I think we have close to 12 or 10 societies. Okay. But then the conversation today is to, I mean, have selected few. No. But it's to make sure they represent all the society and have the conversation. So if you just joined us, go onto our Facebook page. We are streaming live. Leave all your questions and concerns. So let's go into how did the society even come to being? Why was it necessary at all in the first place? I would want to start with you, Priscilla. Take us to your group, emergency nurse specialist. Where have you come from? When was this formed?
All right, thank you very much. So emergency medicine is, I would say, is a new specialty area in Ghana, even though it started way back in 2009 when the Accident and Emergency unit was established at the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. And then the first batch of emergency physicians training started in 2009, and we followed up with 2010 with the emergency nurses. But at that time, it was on the diploma level. And they piloted for some time, and the training went on for some time. And then after studies, they realized that there was the need for more advanced forms of training for the emergency nurses. So it gave way for the importance for the emergency nurse specialist program. The emergency nursing specialist program came about when the College of Nurses and Midwives was established by the Act of Parliament in 2011. And then so the college is supposed to train specialty nurses in specialty areas. It started with the 9 programs, of which emergency was part. So the first cohort training was started in 2015 with 11 residents for the emergency faculty. Now we have a number of specialty areas, with the emergency faculty also growing. So we have emergency nurses in Ghana who are trained at the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital and then KNUST. We also have the nurse specialists, of which I'm a member. We are trained at the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives. The residency training is for 3 years. And then you earn a membership, emergency nursing. The college also has a 1-year associate membership program. that you can train in, and you gain basic assessment skills, and then training in trauma, emergencies, and a varied areas which will prepare you to provide emergency care, basic emergency care. And then if you want to advance, you progress to do the membership program for the 3 years.
This part is very interesting. I mean, it's interesting me a lot because we've been having quite a number of people who want to know the progression level. I mean, so previously, as I remember, we didn't used to have these programs at the degree and those, like you have to do post-diploma, post-basic programs. But what you are saying is now when you finish general nursing or any other nursing program, you can now choose to advance into emergency specialist program, right? Okay.
KNUST does the BSc nursing degree.
Walk away him too much.
Oh, sorry.
Come back.
Okay.
From the RGNs and from that point, then what next?
From that point, so you have to advance with the BSc nursing degree in nursing.
Okay.
Nursing, if you want to progress to do the emergency nursing program.
At the college?
At the college.
Good.
Yes. So you have to do a bachelor's degree in nursing.
Good.
And then you can apply to undertake the membership program, which runs for 3 years. With the diploma certificate, you can apply to undertake the associate membership program, which runs for 1 year.
Okay.
Now, when you are done with the associate membership program for 1 year, you can apply again to come and do the membership. I think that one you can do it for 2 years.
Okay.
2 years. You can use this route. The other route is the BSc emergency nursing. Now the college has a partnership with them, so graduates from the KNUST BSc nursing emergency nursing program can also come and undertake the membership program for 2 years at the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives.
But this particular program is being run at KNUST.
KNUST is not under the college.
All right.
Those of our colleagues who have not undertaken the BSc nursing program and want to come to the college, you have to first of all get a BSc degree in nursing, and then you have to work for at least 5 years. At least 5 years post qualification, and then you apply, get a study leave approval, then you can undertake the program, residency program at the college.
I like the emphasis on the process and how much it will require for you to become a specialist. It tells of the weight of being a specialist nurse in this country. How much more, I mean, if you want to practice without it. But then again, people have raised concerns on the length involved, the diploma, do the BSc, and come over, go and work. I think it's one of the reasons why the association is pushing so hard that we have a starting point of a BSc. All right. Anyway, we are going to come back to you of some of the practice, as it were, to your specialty area. But then I would want to take from Mr. Hanu. Where have we come from and where are we at when it comes to mental health?
Thank you very much. So when it comes to the Mental Health Nurses Society, we started as psychiatric nurses as a group. That is way back, somewhere around the 1980s. There was a difference in salary when it talked about the mental nurses and general practitioners or general nurses. And somewhere like in the 1990s, there was some kind of agitation where the general nurses were saying that all nurses are at risk. So that differential salary for psychiatric nurses was scrapped. And so that led to the formation of the group in 1992. The first the first president for the group was Mrs. Margaret Kumi. By then, I think it was inaugurated by the PNDC Secretary for Health, who is Mr. Obimpe, Commodore Obimpe, who came to inaugurate the group. So the group has started way back in 1992, but there has been periods where we've been dormant. There has been revivals, dormant and revival. But now, from psychiatric nurses group, went to we changed the name from psychiatric nurses to mean to kind of show the sort of work we do, because it's not only about psychiatry, it's about mental health. So the group was changed to mental nurses group. Then later, due to the reorganization of all the societies under the GRNMA, the group now became known as Mental Health Nurses Society. Yes, so it involves all mental health nurses who are practicing in the 3 major psychiatric hospitals: Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Pantan Psychiatric Hospital, and Ankafo Pantan Hospital, and Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, and a number of our community mental health nurses who are providing various services in the communities. So basically, this is where the mental nurses group has moved from, and we are now. So we have a membership of close to like 3,000 membership across the country, and we have national executives, and we are trying to have zonal executives, because we realize that some of our members are working in the communities. So we need to get them organized. Otherwise, previously we were accused that it looks like the mental nurses association or group is tend to focus on only the psychiatric hospitals. But now we realize that we have more of our members in the communities. We are also trying to organize them and have their leadership. So we have zones. Then based upon the zones, it is easy for us to marshal our group. Previously, when we talk about mental nurses, we were one of the backbones of GRNMA, you know, because we have prominent people like our former GRNMA president, Madam Alice Asaidako-Alote, who was very formidable with the association. There have been very, very prominent people. And I mean, we've pushed and things move around in the GRNMA, but it looks like we've been sleeping for some time now, but we are trying to revive and take our rightful position in the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
You know exactly, I was going to come back on you with regards to how quiet the society had been.
Yeah.
But then again, I appreciate the evolution that is ongoing.
Yeah.
I also appreciate the numbers that have come up now, because I remember about 10, 11 years ago, the numbers were less than 1,000. And now we are inching towards 4,000 in general.
Yeah.
It means that there is no other society or group representing mental health nurses across the country, and even in the diaspora from Ghana.
Yeah.
So it's good job to see the GRNMA doing this. However, I believe that people's concern about the fact that it should be about members, not hospitals, is very necessary. Because there are some who are working in general hospital, and I hope that you push the membership down to their throats.
Yeah.
Of what influence has the society been, or the group been, to the practice of psychiatric nurses? Can you take us through anything that?
I mean, the group has been very influential when it comes to, let's say, policy formulation.
Great.
We were very critical. In fact, we played a critical role during the promulgation of the new Mental Health Act, Eight Forces of 2012.
2012, yeah.
We were very, very formidable, and even though we have few challenges, we were right there, involved in every step of the process.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, apart from that, we've been asking and fighting for the establishment of the Director of Nursing Services at the Mental Health Authority, because that is the regulatory body for mental health services in the country.
Would you want to take that part again?
Yeah, I mean that we, as a group, the Mental Nurses Society, we've been advocating, lobbying that they establish the Office of the Director of Nursing Services at the Mental Health Authority, because when you compare us to the Ghana Health Service, there's a Director for Nursing Services for the Ghana Health Services. Compare the same thing with CHAG, Christian Health Association of Ghana, you know, so, and even the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
But when it comes to mental, but I won't fault the Mental Health Authority, because relatively it's a new organization that came into force in like 2012. But this is a critical point, because nurses, or the mental nurses, are from the largest group of professionals who are working. So there is no need for us not to have the head of nursing established. And I think the lobbying and advocacy has gone so far, and that has been accepted, and that has been factored into the organogram of the authority. And very soon, I'm sure an advertisement will be made, and an officer will be selected to man the office. So that's how far we have come. And if I should add, previously, when nurses were going for interview, the HR managers were taking money from nurses. Now they don't do that again, but we are proud to say that it is we, the mental nurses, who fought that practice should be stopped, because they started by saying that, oh, just pay 20 cedis, the next time pay 50 cedis, the next time pay 80 cedis, to keep on progressing. Yes, but in our small way at Accra Psychiatric Hospital, we pushed that thing should be stopped, and now it has become a policy, and no nurse pays money to be interviewed. These are some of the achievements of the Mental Health Nurses Society in the annals of GRNMA.
I'm happy to hear about that HR bit, because I remember our time, you have to wait close to a year before your salary will come. As much as we're excited about back pay, but the hassle you have to go through to get even your first salary was just not impressive at all. So it's good to see it. And I'm also happy that you are fighting for a department within the Mental Health Authority. In the end, not only does it give us a representation, but it also strengthens the work of the Mental Health Authority.
Exactly.
But I think that as much as the society was part of the formation or the production of the Mental Health Act, there should have been a legal sort of line within the act which spells out the representation within the authority. Should that not be the case?
Yes. So what happened was that, that's what I said, that initially we had some issues. Because at a certain point, the people who were representing us were really sort of handpicked, but not really the perspective of the society. So just like you said, we had issues with even the composition of the mental health board itself. But now I can tell you that the bill is, or the law is being reviewed. So the review process, we hope that some of these things will be changed, because there are obviously some gaps in the law. So after 10 years of operating with that law, we've realized certain gaps, and now the authority is working to be able to make sure that it is all inclusive, and it's a better bill, because the WHO has seen our law and has been recommended our law to other countries, and has said that it is a modern day model law.
So we will come back to you in your relationship as well with the members and all that, whilst we are looking at the policy formulation at the top.
Good.
And good job so far. Good job. Taking care of 4,000 people plus or 3,000 people plus is no joke.
Sure.
But it remains the most formidable society for all psychiatric nurses in Ghana. So good job to the leadership there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've been smiling throughout. It looks like we should be ready for you. How is your Mother's Day going?
Well, I had it in a small way with just my family, my nuclear family. I would say.
Okay, so you did some jollof. We should come, Yeah. Okay. But the conversation now is on your society. How have you provided leadership to sustain the evolution that you have had? And if you can take us through, where did you pick up from?
Well, so it started as Perioperative Nurses Group, Ghana, in 2009. That was when it was founded. And
that's really
officially inaugurated in 2011.
Wow.
March 2011. So we started with few nurses, perioperative nurses, coming together, asking the questions, why won't we come together as a group and then see the way forward? So that was how it started off. And now we are the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses. We changed the name in 2022 when our parents, GRNMA, suggested that all groups under the GRNMA should have become societies. So our names changed from Perioperative Nurses Group Ghana to the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses Group in 2022. Now, these are nurses that have had 3 years basic nursing training and worked after their basic training for 2-3 years, and then came back to specialize in perioperative nursing practice. And perioperative nurses are nurses that take care of surgical patients before, during, and after their surgical procedure. So all these nurses come together to be part of the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses group. And these nurses are trained in Kolebu, the School of Perioperative and Critical Care Nursing. It started off in 1997 when they realized the need for nurses to have these skills to take care of the surgical patient. That is when the training started in 1997. So it started as an advanced diploma in perioperative nursing, and then in 2015 they started training BSc in perioperative nursing, and now we have the specialist training at the Ghana College. It started off in 2021. So all these products are part of the Ghana Society of Perioperative Nurses. So from the inception of the group, or the formation of the group, I was the secretary for the society.
Hold on. From the formation of the society,
yes,
you were the secretary.
I was the general secretary, the executive secretary. And then in 2024, we had our election. So now currently I am the national chairperson for the society. So from 2024 till date, I have been leading the group.
Your story reminds me of Mrs. Perpetual Friampofo. You know where she came from and where she is now. So I believe that you are equally inspiring quite a number of the female members in your group. Do you get a sense of that?
Yes, I get a sense. Some tell me that I'm their mentor, they are looking up to me. So yes, a lot of them tell me this.
And how does it feel?
Well, it's satisfying. I love perioperative nursing, and I'm happy to mentor people to have that passion for perioperative nursing practice. So it makes me feel satisfied.
Let me be honest with you. When I went into nursing and they said someone is a perioperative nurse, I was like, what exactly are perioperative nurses? Who are they? Even though I knew perioperation is more of before. I mean, you know it better, but that was my starting point where I began to get interested in who is a perioperative nurse. But today that you are here, do us the honors.
All right. So a perioperative nurse is a nurse who has been specialized, or who has specialized, trained, and then licensed to care for the surgical patients. So when
you say surgical patient, I want you to use a
patients who are going in for surgery.
Okay.
Or operation in the layman's language. So patient going in for the surgery. So these nurses are there to meet with those patients before they go in for surgery, find out about their concerns, and then give them those preparations and all the information they would need to help them to recover throughout their journey, the surgical journey. So these nurses prepare those patients psychologically. Surgery comes with some kind of fear. So these nurses are there to find out what their concerns are and then help to address, to minimize the anxiety, because anxiety also brings about complications in this surgical patients. So because we want to boost up the recovery of this patient, we try to get in touch with this patient and then get their concerns and allay their anxiety. Prepare them physically, as in the things they would need for surgery, we let them know all these things. And then there is the intraoperative phase, where these nurses work with the surgeons in the operating room. These nurses get to find out about the surgery that they are coming to do, and then get all the things that will be needed for the surgery, set up the operating room, and then get the patient into the operating room, inform the team. It's a teamwork. So we work with the team of surgeons and anesthetists. And so we get the teams informed that the patient is in, and then the work starts. We operate with the surgeons. As in, when we set up the operation, the cutting that the surgeon does, we are by the table with the surgeon, and we work with the surgeon. And then when the surgery is over, the perioperative nurse also has some responsibility towards those patients to make sure the patient recover from the anesthesia and then go back to the ward. So this is what basically perioperative nurses do.
So if for any reason I go through operation or surgery and I go through successfully and come back and I forget anything along the way, the best person to ask will be the perioperative nurse.
Yes.
Because he or she literally has the journey of me in
Sure.
their hands and mind.
Sure.
Right. Thank you so much for this amazing work you do. And I've encountered quite a number of perioperative nurses, and I like the character they come with. They are calm, composed, and they are so much aware of whatever they are doing. And we really appreciate you. All right. We will come back to you giving me a little more details along the way. We'll be asking you all that, and how much the society and the practice of perioperative nurses, where they merge, and the differences that has been, the impact you've come. We'll come back to that. But I want to settle on the critical nurses group. And you see, one thing about critical nurses, I've seen a lot about them. Look, it looks like they are on some speed pills. Pa, 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 pa. And today, when their rep was coming, she was just in the same attitude. And I'm saying, no, we are not going to do intubation here. But they are always smart, very much in a hurry, no time to waste. Why is it so?
Because time is brain. Yeah, time is brain. So once the brain is gone, you can't do much. So time is of essence to every critical care nurse. So just that's by the way. So time is of essence to us as a critical care nurse in that stressful environment in the ICU. So time is of essence.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just scared me about that small line. Time is brain.
Yeah, time is brain.
And talking about time, let's look at the time of your formation to now, that you are the rep of a society of a very critical group. Where was this group?
Okay, so critical care nursing has evolved over the years. So it started in 1990s. So in the 1990s, there was no critical care nursing or nurse in Ghana, but we had one British trained critical care nurse in the whole country. Then in 1992, when Cardiothoracic Center was established by the eminent Professor Frimpong Kwabena Boateng, established Cardiothoracic Center. And of course, cardiothoracic has to go with an ICU. It's a theater, it has to go with an ICU. So he also established the ICU at the center. Then, because we didn't have critical care nurses, he went into partnership with some Germans and trained some nurses in Ghana. So he took his nurses from the center to be trained as critical care nurses. So when they came back, they were working. Then along the line, 5 years down the line, the government of Ghana sought the need to formally establish critical care nursing in Ghana. So as my sister said, in 1995, MOH saw the need to train critical care nurses, so it became formalized. Then, so they started as a modular group, where 8 nurses were trained in all the regions. So they picked some nurses in all the regions and trained them as a modular group.
Oh.
Then, after a while, the school was also established. So MOH established the school at Kolebu, so School of Perioperative and Critical Care Nursing.
Okay.
Then it started as an HND, so the higher diploma nursing. Then graduated to the BSc nursing, which is affiliated with University of Cape Coast. And now we have the Ghana College of Nursing, also training specialists in critical care nursing. So if you look at the trajectory, it has evolved over the number of, over time, and critical care, it's everything. You understand? So it has evolved over the years. And along the way, we also sought the need to establish ourselves as a society.
Okay.
So we established ourselves as a group, then later became a society under GRNMA. The society was established, or the group was established in 2008, and we've trained a number of nurses, over 1,000.
Is that your membership as a society?
Yes, the membership is over 700.
Okay.
But the school has trained quite a number of nurses in critical care, both in-house, and some of them have also migrated. So the membership is large, and the training is still ongoing. So we have the BSc and the Ghana College as well. So that is how it has evolved over time.
I get a sense that the practice has been there for ages, but the society, to formalize itself now, decided to do all these things. How do you compare the leadership now to the leadership then, on the activities then now to now, to now? When you look at how vibrant, or maybe do you think that you've gotten more vibrant in the past? Or?
So we've been vibrant from day one. We need to give credit to who credit is due. So the society, or the group, was established by Mrs. Faustina Isoladipa. She's the former chairperson of the CCN society. So in 2008, that was when it was established, and it's been vibrant from day one up to today, that we have taken the mantle as leaders. So we've been working hand in hand with our colleagues and the past executives. So from day one, it's been very vibrant.
Talking of being vibrant, what are some of the activities that you can boldly say this has contributed to our vibrancy?
Oh, a lot.
Okay.
I'll just mention a few.
Please do.
So 2 years ago, we clocked 10 years. We celebrated our 10th anniversary as a society, and it was fantastic. And let me just use the COVID as a test case. So when the COVID came, nationally, globally, they had to mop up critical care nurses all over to take care of the critically ill in the various COVID centers, because we didn't know how COVID kept evolving. We didn't know the nature of COVID-19, and when it came, it was scary all over the news. You watch on news, people are dying, people were even scared. Our own nurses were even scared going into the COVID areas to even take care of this patient. But we were bold and were resilient during the COVID-19 era. And we went in, it's a national call, we went in as critical care nurses and to help our patients. So, yeah, it's been very vibrant in terms of care and leadership.
And I can attest to the fact, because at a point I was working in one of the treatment centers, and you always had to refer critically ill patients to the ICU, and you guys were amazing, always there, ready to work. You didn't even know when you were getting the alert about your your salary or allowances and all that. You just had to be there. So thank you so much for holding the fort. But let me ask you the same question I asked earlier. Do you get a sense of an inspiration to your members as a woman? Because on Mother's Day, I'm looking to hear that as well. Do you get a sense of inspiration to your members as a woman leader?
Yes, as a leader, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, a lot, because we have mentors we look up to, and the fact that we are now in leadership role, people also look up to us as leaders. And as a leader, you need to, because you are influencing our members, they take inspiration from us. And looking at, I'll just use one of Florence Nightingale's quotes. So, as a nurse, you don't just finish school and say, I've finished my BSc, so that is it. So you have to keep on acquiring knowledge. So the nursing profession is not just one-off. So you go through the training, and the training is just ongoing. So your old age, you understand. So when your colleagues see how you started and where you are now, for me it's an inspiration, because I also was there and I was looking up to someone.
Where were you then?
As a staff nurse, growing up through the profession, had my BSc, my MPhil, and now a PhD.
I was waiting for that.
So that is an inspiration to my colleagues.
Let's take it again. Let's take it again. Let's take it again.
Let's take
it again.
And the whole nursing fraternity.
Let's take it again. So you did your diploma?
Yeah. My RGN.
You did your RGN?
Yes.
Where? Which school?
Hollywood nursing training. The premium nursing training.
They will start saying premium. Let's leave that one aside. So you started as a diploma nurse.
Yes.
RGN. You finished?
Yes.
Then you did your
BSc critical care nursing.
Okay.
No, HND. So it was HND by then. So HND critical care. Did MPhil physiology.
Hold on. HND, and then you went to
an MPhil.
Okay.
Physiology, and now a PhD in nursing. So that is what Florence Nightingale is telling us.
You people, are you hearing? MPhil.
So, as nurses, so you don't just finish school and say no. You just have to keep adding on to knowledge and also impacting. So that is critical care.
How difficult is it becoming what you've been able to do?
It's difficult, but you need to stay focused.
I see.
It's difficult because combining ICU care as a mother, as a teacher, as
wow.
I mean, it's as everything. You understand, but once you are focused, people have done it. So you should be able to. It should be self-motivation. You see, you should have that self-motivation that somebody did it. Look at our own Professor Ziato, a vice chancellor. Look at how she started. And now look at where she is. Our own Dosiak to say. These are all people we all look up to. Even my own mother. You understand? So these are people we look up to. And once you are focused, you get there.
Charlie, let's say inspiration come inside. But let me give you one inspiration or motivation. You see, being a member of the Ghanaian Registered Midwives Association opens up to so many opportunities, and one of it is learning how to be inspired and staying focused. To stay focused, always get a GRNMA diary and write your thoughts down, like I'm going to do. I'm writing everything. So if you don't have your own diary, please get to your district chair, and then you dial some code on your phone and you use to get it. Make sure you get to your diary, make sure you write your thoughts down, and make sure you live your dreams. Don't let your dreams die.
Absolutely.
Now, talking about focus, we now want to look at some of the activities that we are doing before we go for a quick break and come back. But I need some details. I think one thing you didn't mention was the trajectory or the academic progression when it comes to mental health. I so know how recent we've had some advancement, but you are in a better position to tell us. So take us through when you look academically, how is the progression like, and where are we going?
Yeah, so thank you very much. When it comes to mental health nurses progression, career progression, previously, I mean, most of the schools, if you want to go and do a BSc in mental health, there's only one. I mean, in fact, it's seriously at the point when we were even in school, there's only one place that can go and do a BSc in Legon. I mean, so the competition was really great. You know, I know nurses who have to, mental nurses who have to go to Legon, and they were pushed to, they wanted to do nursing, but they were pushed to go and do psychology.
Exactly.
You know, it was a challenge. So I had a number of my colleagues who had to go and do psychology because they had intended to do a nursing, but because we didn't have the options available. But thankfully now, a lot more of the universities are offering BSc programs in mental health. Yes, so apart from the BSc in mental health, I mean, they can also go to the Ghana College to go and specialize. And I can say on authority that the Ghana College, they're one of the specialty areas, which is the addiction nursing program. I was the consultant and led in developing it because of my education that's my specialty. So I helped them to establish that course. And there are a number of them, like a number of other options at the Ghana College. But the challenge is that now a lot of the nurses are not seeing it attractive because they are not able to build upon it if they want to do further education. And it's a challenge. I have this complaint from our nurses that you should be able to finish the specialty course. And if you want to go and do a PhD, there should be a simple way that you can go. Exactly. But it looks like the courses are not being recognized. And I think this is something that the association must liaise with the nursing midwifery council and the Ghana College to see how best they can streamline some of these things, you know, because I can tell you for a fact that this is one of the reasons why the nurses are leaving. Because one of the good that has suffered so much from the exodus of nurses, mental nurses, because mental nursing is so attractive outside. So when they sit down here and they look at what is happening here, they don't have the options. And most of them are males, you know, if you ask me, most of them are males, and they have families to take care of, they have responsibilities, and look at what is happening here. It's a challenge. So one of the things we can do to retain our mental nurses is to be able to solve these gaps, so there will be smooth transition. So that someone wants to do his PhD, you want to go and specialize after specialty, there should be a way where the person can also go and do something, but not to go and start. I know people who have done their specialty, they are not going to do masters in nursing. How that possible? That's too much, you know. You know, so the options are there, but now it's opening up, you know, and we are hoping that as time goes on, there will be more options, because when they go to the Ghana College, people want to do gerontology nursing. Exactly. People want to do child mental health. Exactly. People want to do addiction nursing. People want to do community mental health. So adolescent mental health and all these are there, you know. So these options should be there so that, and what is very critical is that I ask myself, the doctors, some of the medical, not some, but most of the doctors are specializing. There should be a way where one doctor specializes. There should be an equal number of nurses. Exactly. Minimum 5. You know, but unfortunately, and doctors do not work alone. But unfortunately, it looks like there are more doctors who are going and specializing. When it comes to nurses, in fact, even when nurses, I think that for other professions like the general nurses and public health nurses, when it comes to the Ghana, they are doing very well. When it comes to mental nurses, only 3 are graduating, 2 are graduating out of them. Other places like pediatrics, there are a lot of nurses who are coming out to their specialty. So these are some of the challenges that we have to look at and be able to open up for mental nurses to be able to specialize and be able to, at least when these things happen, then they are assured of career progression, and they will see the profession to be attractive, and they will be able to stay and work and improve upon our health system in the country. So when it comes to career progression, when it comes to mental health, it used to be very small and bleak, but now it's opening up, and we are hoping that it will open up more, so that more nurses who want to specialize or want to have further education can do that and be able to. Because Kobe, I have to tell you, there's a research that shows that a research was done, and they look at the outcome of patients taking care of psychiatrists and that of a mental health nurse. And they realize that the difference is not significant. The difference between a patient taken care of by a psychiatrist and a patient taken care of by a mental health nurse, though there's a difference, but statistically it's not significant. It means that if you're able to empower our nurses, there are some places that we don't have psychiatrists, but we empower them, we give them options, they will be able to stay and offer services, mental health services for our people in the hinterland. And it will also improve because when you talk about health, I mean, there should be a balance. WHO says that it's a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Unfortunately, sometimes we balance it and look more to the physical. But if your head here is not working well, nothing can work again. You know, this is my take.
Sami, I think you need to stay on this passionate call, and you have been doing it over the years for as long as I've known you. Reason being, we keep putting out numbers like 1 in 4 is mentally ill or has some level of mental illness.
Yeah.
But this is another stark revelation or numbers out there that whilst we have less than 200 psychiatrists in this country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as of the last count, it was even less than 100.
Yes. And at a time when we were joining, it was less than 30 or 20.
Yeah.
And most of them were a little older.
Getting out of the system.
So they were not active. Now, one thing I realized was immediately after school, they have opportunity to go directly to start their specialty.
Sponsored.
And this is sponsored
By the state, yeah.
right? By government. So in the next 5 years after having completed school, they are already specialists. But this is the case of psychiatric nurses. Close to 3,500 or 4,000 psychiatric nurses we have stayed just around 2 psychiatric nurses schools.
Okay, yeah.
Producing all that for a country that says that 1 in 4 or a quarter of the population have mental health issues. And after diploma mental health nursing, you have to struggle to go and do your BSc. By the time you go and do your specialist, you are hitting close to 10 years to 15 years of practice. How much impact or deliberate look on are we not doing to keep the mental health of our people at worst forms if we are not investing in the education of the practice? This is huge.
It is.
And I think that the society has a very big task.
Yeah.
It is high time we start going on strike with you with placards and making sure that things are done, because it doesn't make sense.
And Kobe, if I may come in briefly, previously, so now you could see that relatively the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is relatively calm, because previously there used to be a lot of news up on strikes, and sometimes some of even the industrial action that we take there, it's not even to fight for our own welfare. It's just for us to have basic tools to work with, basic medications that will really help for the patient to come around to be able to function. That has been a challenge, but relatively that it has been calm, because it looks like now there's a kind of feelings of learned helplessness. We've fought for a long time, nothing is happening, so people, the best way is let me leave. That's how people are living, So just like you're saying, investing in the career advancement of not only the mental illness but all nurses has a ripple effect in our health delivery system. It is.
And to talk about nurses who are leaving, I know psychiatric nurses, some were even going into anesthesia.
Yeah.
Some were going into physician assistantship
even
program.
critical care and all those areas.
They were just going to do other programs.
Yeah.
But the conversation is ongoing, and it is part of the special edition of the International Nurses Day celebration. If you just tune in, we encourage you to drop your comments and your questions. We have 4 significant society leaders who are here to discuss with us the evolution, the impact, the details, and everything that they are having on the general nursing practice, and as well as the economy of the country. And so stick and stay with us. We would want to go for a break, and when we come back, we'll take some details. I really want to understand the difference between critical care and emergency nursing. Would you want to do that for me? Because you have been waiting for us. so that we can go on break after that. What really is the difference? Emergency nursing, critical care nursing?
Okay, so that's interesting. Earlier on when you mentioned that critical care nurses they are smart and they are always on the move. I'm like, are you really sure? Because emergency is here, and we are the people who are always on the move. Time is of essence to critical care nurses, yes, but we really work with the time. So when you come, we call our space, it's very dynamic and chaotic, and we call it organized chaos. Yes, because you realize that this one is moving here, moving there. I mean, loud talking, I mean, sounds. Hey, bring this, get this, but we are under control because we are trying to understand ourselves. And emergency is also teamwork, so it's very important. When the patient comes with an emergency, we are in the very most critical and unstable phase. So when we stabilize the patient and the patient needs continuous care in a critical stages, then we pass on to our sisters, junior sisters, let me call them. But they have been in the system before us.
Really?
I must admit that they have been there and they've done very well to be managing the emergencies for us before the section of emergency care. But now that we have arrived,
yes, you are taking your space.
Yes. So when you come in that most critical phase, unstable, we receive you, stabilize you, and then for continuous monitoring, critical monitoring. Our sisters are very good at that. You give it to your
little sisters. You give it to them. Don't worry. We'll come back to that when they are about to do the critical things. But do you recall any of the most chaotic moments you ever found yourself? Is there any particular one you recall?
Yes. There have been series of them at the Kolebu emergency. Yeah. And then when I was also in training. Yeah. The one when I was in training was about, I think 2 sisters. The history was that they, we are fond of spraying insecticides and all those pesticides. Like, so they, in their case, they sprayed DDT, I hear, to kill insects or probably mosquitoes or something before, at night, before sleeping. And they should have waited for some minutes, 30 minutes or more before going into sleep. So they didn't wait for that duration. So after spraying that, they were like, it's okay to go down, when they went into sleep. So they got that poisoning and then they were rushed to the ED. One passed out before getting to the ED. And then I think around 11 or 12 years old, and I was really shaken by that experience because everybody was really working hard to revive the girl. Everything we can do, So
this was just inhalation?
Yes.
Was that inhalation? They sprayed it?
Yes, and they didn't wait for like 30 minutes or more, and they went into sleep.
Wow.
Poisoning. So, we couldn't revive the girl. She will come back, she can't sustain, and then, if she was really able to sustain, then they will intubate and then pass on to ICU, but we couldn't. It was very, a very sad encounter.
Wow.
And then the ED to one of the cases, it's unfortunate that I don't know whether there's one that we were able to revive, resuscitate them, and then intubate and then move to the ICU. One was a colleague nurse who came in and was going down. We had to start resuscitate early when she went into arrest, and then we achieved she was able to come back, and then we intubated quickly, and with the help of all the other members of the health team, she was moved into the ICU, but unfortunately she couldn't make it after some weeks, and she passed on. And then another case where a young guy...
hold on. You are giving me trauma already. Please stand by for a break. But how do you deal with these traumas? And Sami, before we leave, we would ask for tips on how to deal with it. But does these traumas occur to you? Do you experience them?
Yeah, so critical care, I see is depressing. It's depressing sometimes. So as she rightly said, my colleague said,
your big sister, please.
My big sister. So you are there to save lives. And it gets to a point that is like a family. So the patient becomes part of you the family members become part of you, and there are situations whereby sometimes they can't even afford simple medications. But it's like you've gotten to a place that you can't watch that patient die. Because looking at where you came from and where you are now, you need to make sure that that patient survives. So then you have to pull resources elsewhere from colleagues, begging for money, just to make sure that this patient leaves the ICU. I mean, in that critical phase. So it gets to a point that it's depressing. I don't know whether will feel the same or
yes.
My colleague at theater, but it can be very depressing. So one of the advocacies we want to champion as critical care is, I don't know whether we'll get the opportunity to speak on some challenges, but let me just chip in here.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. So production, please stand by. Let's have a break. And then when we come back, we'll look at some of the challenges. Today, we are taking pardon to extend it a little because the conversation has really gotten interesting. Very grateful so far where this is going. And we're having comments online. Quite a number of our members have expressed excitement about all that is ongoing. And this message, which is coming from Nanaya de Grafty Sando, says, Happy Mother's Day to all mothers, especially to Mrs. Perpetual Foyampofo, Colonel Vidotu, and all the beautiful nurses and midwives out there. Kudos to the planning committee, and message to the panel here as well. From Joyce Amponsa Ahin, congratulations, Mrs. Vera Aka. They are watching you. Padmo Paddy Yeda says this is very educative. Sami, there's a question that you would have to answer later, but it says the paying of interview fee, how is it different from the HR money you are talking about? Yeah. And Mame Adra Kole says kudos to you all, and same thing. So we'll come back, and then we'll take some points from you. We'll look at some of the challenges you've faced, and then we'll look at the way forward. We'll also discuss direct practice and the provision of health service in Ghana and the nation as a whole. So please, let's go on a quick break, and we'll be back shortly.
don't feel it's my test. Your broadcast test. You look in your mind to balance. You see my grip. And if I can be on all baby, what's up? You can see you. You don't feel kill out. I need to know you. Yes, I feel you. I don't know you. Yes, I'm not you. I need to know you. You look at me. Somebody gonna be there. Yes, I'm not you. I'm my shot.
She be dancing, she rockin' Fendi. Pull up in a Benzie, bum bum they offend me when she bending. You go put me for him, I need to know you did. Oh yes, and me on look kiki. Chapali girl no delay. Oh, my nest are not dating. I need to know you did. Send me on look kiki. Chapali girl no delay.
That provides the most impeccable hospitality. GRNMA Hotel is where you experience the real meaning of comfort and relaxed ambience. From the biggest outdoor space and a garden for all outdoor events like wedding parties, funeral receptions, kids parties, and more. Free parking space for guests to the coziest lounge which gives the warmest embrace while you get attended to by our well-trained staff. We have a large conference room for indoor events like wedding ceremonies, naming ceremonies, conferences, and other intimate gatherings. We offer bus rental and mobile swimming pool rental services. Make yourself at home in our standard rooms that have refrigerators, flat screen TV, a desk, and more. Or our deluxe room that features tea kettle, tea set, some snacks, sofa, and a bigger desk. The rooms come with a complimentary breakfast, strong internet connection, DSTV, and Netflix for our guests to chill with. Our restaurant serves the best continental and native dishes as well as the yummiest pizza you can ever find. We also have special Sunday services. Nasa kweside we abre panya mutwe na nkatankwan akrantinam beef ne duanya yugodo ana fufu nebu no chinam inyenza. GRNMA Hotel introduces a special Sunday sumptuous healthy local dishes like tim fufu, bangkung, and rice balls with assorted soups, bushmeat, and fish. That's right. GRNMA Hotel serves these local dishes every Sunday from 10:30 a.m. Visit and enjoy a perfect local meal in a serene environment. Locate GRNMA Hotel off the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital Academy Road. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at GRNMA Hotel Cape Coast. Our website www.grnmacchotel.com. Call us on 050-000-4515 or 0332-150-511. Send us a mail on reservation.grnmahotel.cc@gmail.com. GRNMA Hotel.
You're very much welcome to the special edition of the Nurses Cafe, and this is part of activities to mark the International Nurses Day 2025 edition. If you've not been part of us earlier on, you've missed a lot, But this is what you can do. Just stay and continue with wherever we've gotten to. When the whole thing is done, flip back and watch again, because we've had conversation looking at general nursing practice. We've looked at the evolution, and we've looked at the impacts of practice and policy and whatever, including the progress of you where you are now. We are heading towards discussing challenges and as well as the future and how this whole nursing that we have, when they called others, they missed the call, and some of us, the call came directly, and it's a calling. This calling, we want to get down to it. But this calling this conversation for this calling has been led this afternoon by 4 significant leaders who are leading their societies under the Ghana Resident Nurses and Midwives Association umbrella, and we are most privileged to have them here. Now, from the critical care nursing group to the emergency nurses group to the mental health nurses group and the perioperative nurse, representing all the other societies, good to have you. And on Mother's Day, we have more women than men as allowed. Yeah. So let's go straight. We were talking about impact of practice and policy and education. You were talking about something with regards to the progress. I mean, the training that has come on. Let's sum this up and then move on. What do you think we should be doing as society, as leadership, to impact the numbers, to give weight and value?
So as a society, what we have planned, what is in our action plan for the year, is that we would form a student chapter in the school to create awareness on what the perioperative nursing practice stands for. And then also to visit the basic schools, as in the registered, the nursing training schools or colleges, to create awareness on the specialty area, so that when they are done, they would know where they would belong to. So these are some of the things we intend to do. We had some mentoring section with the School of Perioperative Nursing to also let them know us, and then have some mentors for them, or to have them as mentees, so that they can fall on us anytime they want some clarification on their way forward. And some are doing it. And I think with the student chapter, it's going to help in a great deal. So these are some of the things we are doing now, as a society.
Now, as you make efforts in this direction as a society, what feedback are you getting from your members as being the challenges they are facing in their work?
Well, so to do with work, the challenges they are facing is that the operating room, we see it, or the operating theater, we see it to be the place for perioperative nurses. Any other person that comes to work in the operating theater is a guest. We are the host of the theater. But in most or some facilities, let me put it that way, the theater is not headed or manned by perioperative nurses. And it makes working there for these nurses difficult. They try to make things, bring out suggestions on how things have to be run, the standards to be maintained. But because the head there is not a perioperative nurse, the person is not really understanding, and it is making working in the OR difficult for some of these our nurses who are working there. So we are expecting, and it's a call, that every theater must be manned by perioperative nurses, and then the standards will be upheld there in the theater because of patient safety and personnel safety as well. So that is what we are calling for. This is one of the challenges. The other challenge has to do with logistics, things to work with. You could have operating rooms in a theater. You may have about 4 operating rooms or 5 operating rooms. And in those operating rooms, you need equipment to work in those operating rooms. You need suctioning machines, you need the diathermy machines for stopping bleeding, suctioning for suctioning secretions from the patient. However, you realize that these facilities don't have enough of this suctioning machine. So the surgery starts, all the 4 operating rooms are operating, and you would have to be moving one machine from one operating room to the other. It ends up causing stress for these nurses, and they also want to see the patients have their surgeries and go out successfully. So they will be doing this up and down, moving equipment from one theater to the other. Whereas if we had this equipment, all the operating rooms had their equipment, then things would work effectively, and these nurses will not be stressed. This International Day theme is about caring for the nurses and midwives, and I think the sanity of the perioperative nurse is also very important, and they would have to look at logistics and let us have our sanity. Another thing has to do with having the specialty on the payslip. These nurses are calling for that. It's been years we've been asking for that. We want to see the name perioperative nurse on the payslip, but it's not done. So they should have it on the payslip, and that would also make them happy. That is also one of the challenges.
Wait, you're working as perioperative nurses?
Yes.
And your income documentation is not reflecting that you are?
They just state staff nurse, principal nursing officer, or senior nursing officer without a perioperative nursing specialty.
Does it scare them?
They want to be recognized, because to be a staff nurse without, you are just a general nurse, it is understood. But here lies the case. Those people have some specialty added to their skill. So they need that to reflect on their payslip, and they want it to get done for them.
Yeah, but what is the difficulty of the administration or administrative body to ensure that this is done? I mean, what is the difficulty in it?
So I think this information we have on a number of times brought it before our parents, GRNMA, that this is one of the things that our members want. So countless times we have reported on that, and they said they would do something about, or see what they can do about it. So we are just hoping that something would be done about it, since GRNMA is our parents. So we have to put it on their lap. So
I hope members are reassured that this thing has to be resolved, because if you expect me to do, you also have a responsibility on your side. I mean, sometimes it gets really depressing about this whole thing. Anyway, I will go do them. When you said sanity and all that, I saw Sami smiling a lot, but we are not coming there. Don't worry. so let's get back to emergency nursing. Whenever there is outbreaks, public health outbreaks, and all that, you are one of the first point of call.
Yes.
If not in the primary healthcare setting, but they come straight to the OPD or to meet the emergency nurses. It means that you should have some level of resources that protect you and all that. There are times that you hear emergency nurses crying about not having this, not having that. Is that the situation members are telling you? If that is the case, can you highlight on all the other challenges therein?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, inadequacy of resources is very, very critical. I mean, it's one of the main challenges for emergency nurses. I will not restrict the setting to only the teaching hospitals. Okay. Maybe because for us, we may be privileged to even have a few. There are some facilities in the other regions or other facilities who would not have some of the basic equipment or logistics that we need. For instance, in the emergency unit, like you rightly said, we receive them first. And somebody in a very critical condition an emergency phase, we need to get the baseline vital signs and then be able to monitor the first hour, the second hour. They are very critical, but we don't have even monitors for some facilities. You realize it. So it's a challenge. Monitors, and even for taking vital signs, all they may have is at best the digital sphygmomanometer and then the thermometer. But if you have even a patient monitor, we could make use of that to, it gives an impression of the patient's MAP and then other figures. So we can use it for monitoring of a sort. But if you have only the digital SPHIG and the others, you're only checking vital signs and you are using your knowledge and then your skills to manage the patient. So it's very, very important that we have certain basic, and even there's some equipment like Mami said, the suction machine, perfusers, ECG machines, all these basic things which are very, very important. For instance, if somebody presents with chest pain, which we are suspecting an MI, we will need to be able to.
What is MI?
Myocardial infarction or angina.
Or what?
Myocardial infarction.
Okay. Can it also be called heart attack?
Yes, heart attack.
All right.
Yes. Thank you very much for the, layman's language, heart attack. So for such cases, we would need to have an ECG, the heart tracing, the one that we have on the paper. It tells you how the heart is working, whether the ventricles and the atrium are working well, and the electrical activity of the heart is moving on as expected. So if you don't have such a machine and somebody presents with chest pain, and you may not be experienced to have encountered somebody that is radiating to the left. Some, it's not all that related to the left. Some, you have epigastric pain in the neck and then radiating to the back. So if you don't know, some of the presentation in the females are slightly different from the males. So if you've not encountered such presentations and then you're only relying on chest pain which radiates to the left, and then you think that the person didn't talk about radiating to any side, but only feeling a tightness in the chest and then BP is high, and you are not able to pick it up, then our patient may suffer. You realize it. So the equipment or the logistics is very, very, very important for us. And then another one is the space. You will hear of congestion. Congestions in the ED, and then no bed, patient presents, you call, and then we don't have a bed. Sometimes we even have a challenge with that because you realize that we can manage this. They even present, you are seeing the patient staring at you in the face. We can do something about it, but you don't have bed space. So we need more facilities with emergency setups, which are properly set up to manage emergency cases. Not a facility where they didn't have and then they've a makeshift space. That way we are restricted. But we are appealing that as we have a new government in place, they have talked about coming up with new, completing various hospitals. If they can work on getting more emergency spaces available for us so that the pressures are reduced on the teaching hospitals and the other districts which are offering specialized emergency care. And then finally, emergency is a high-pressured environment. So motivation is very key. You talked about the trauma and other things we go through. Apart from the abuse and the assaults we experience at the ED, we are constantly under pressure to deliver. So motivation is key. Tying that in with the increasing burden of disease, non-communicable diseases, and even the increase in the injuries from road traffic accidents and all forms of trauma. When all this, so it has increased the ED presentations. So if all these things, we are receiving all these cases, and the nurses who are there, some have left. Those of us who are around, who are trying to contain the situation, we need motivation. So if our mother association can also hit on that for us, so that emergency nurses will be highly motivated, risk allowances will be bad at all, and then provide the necessary resources and the logistics for us. I think it will go a long way to help us. Just tying this one in with the college.
Yeah.
My colleague here with the mental talked about the having completed college and then having to go and do your master's. It's also very important for the emergency nurse specialist that college works on this bit as fast as possible or as quickly as possible, because if you have been able to go through 3 years of training, you've done your thesis, you've gone through various leadership courses and other things, I think that if they're able to work on us getting the academic certificate, that is the master's, it will be a feather in the cap for us. Most nurse specialists are looking up to this, and I'm sure that if they're able to achieve this, a lot more people will be looking at staying, because then even if you go outside, they will evaluate your master's certificate plus the skills that you have gained and the extra clinical hours, and then you can be in a better place wherever you are, whether in Ghana or the global setting. So it's very important for us that they look at this area.
All right. Awesome. I'm happy that you touched on some of the things that I would have wanted to make a follow-up on, especially the no-bed syndrome. Now, you've clearly told us how nurses are even affected emotionally about it, and it's also very worrying, and I know for sure among nurses. Is it going to be far-fetched to say that the capital should have, if possible, a standalone emergency facilities or emergency health centers? Like we have trauma in Winneba. That was to address the rising rate of road traffic accidents. Because if I do recall, mortality in Africa or in Ghana, road traffic accident is somewhere in top 5.
Yes.
Yes, which makes it quite very significant. So it will not be far-fetched, definitely, to look at having centers dedicated for just accidents.
Yes, you are right on point.
Yeah.
It will not be far-fetched at all. In fact, if we get such a facility, it will go a long way to ease the burden on the 3 major facilities existing in the Greater Accra region. That is Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the Greater Accra region, and then 37. They are the major facilities receiving all the referrals. So if we have a standalone emergency hospital, it will go a long way, because then most of the facility, the equipment will be there, and then the nurses, we need. I didn't touch on that one.
Yeah.
So getting the facility, it goes with the training. It goes with the training of the emergency nurses. Again, it is not in all areas that you have medical officers or physicians available.
Yeah.
So if we have advanced nurses as emergency nurse specialists who have been trained to offer advanced care, emergency care, in addition to our emergency nurses who did the 1 year, who did the BSc 2, and they are more in the interlands, and they are empowered to work independently to a certain level, I believe that it will help us. So getting a standalone emergency facility, not only in the capital, in other areas, plus empowering our emergency nurse specialists and our emergency nurses to be able to deliver the care that they have been trained to. For instance, the emergency nurse specialists, we have been trained to be able to assess patients and then examine, arrive at a conclusion or impression of what we think of the patient's condition, and then initiate care. So if a medical officer is not around, but you have been trained with all these skills and knowledge, and you're able to start care, I can testify that because of this training, some of my colleagues in the other regions, they have been able to pick up critical cases, stabilize them, and then refer, which have saved lives.
Yeah.
So it goes to say that if we empower them to be able to function as per their our job description, it will go a long way to facilitate positive patient outcomes for
exactly.
Thank you.
Talking about, and I'm going to move to your junior sister soon. So, but before I do that, there are some comments here which says, Afrakuma Adwa says, very insightful. Well done to our emergency nurse specialist Priscilla, and happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you. This is especially for you alone. But then again, talking about economy and nurses, the present government speaks so well of having a 24-hour economy, but I am yet to see a very established health care system that will respond. Let me put in an example. If you are going to do more industrialization, it means people are going to work in the night. They are going to production and all that. Where injuries happen, where transportation happen, so there's still going to be emergencies that people have to be rushed in the hospital. Are we going to say that the facilities providing this emergency care will be best placed to respond to this type of economy we want to run? If you had the opportunity to meet the president in 30 seconds and 1 minute, what kind of emergency care would you want it to be designed to fit into that 24-hour economy?
That idea that brought about the University of Ghana Medical Center, that's world-class emergency services. That is what we are looking out for. An emergency unit that has the facilities, that has the personnel who have been trained with the relevant knowledge and skills to deliver that world-class emergency care, so that if somebody presents at the emergency with chest pain, I should be able to assess and differentiate, so that I will know that this is a heart attack or this is an ulcer, chest pain and abdominal pain. So I will differentiate quickly. I will not waste time, so that we can save life. And if patient is in a critical phase, in the patient, for instance, in an asthmatic patient, we can get the patient out of the fatal or critical phase and then push the person to an ICU, so that the care can be continued. So we need the facilities, we need the logistics and the equipment, and then we need the trained personnel who are highly motivated to work the way we want them to deliver the 24-hour economy.
Yes.
It is very important that we think about that, upgrade the facilities so that we can have the equipment to work with. And then the nurses, some will go, but some will definitely stay, because the stress of moving about and then having to share or ration oxygen, manage suction machine is even more stressful than delivering the care.
I mean, how is it that in this era of time you have to ration oxygen? We need to keep on talking about this thing, and I think the society has to keep on this advocacy, because tomorrow we may be rushed to the emergency. And we have had our own colleagues rush to the emergency. And if it was not because of own friends and colleagues who are there, you may be shortchanged of a lot of things. I have been to one very top hospital, emergency unit. I sat there for 2 hours and I had to come back home. It took the grace of God possibly to resolve my pain. This is uncalled for. And so I will implore the emergency nurses group to continue hitting hard, right? It's important that we articulate these views, and this is coming from Veronica Salia. Mrs. Aka is on point. Good discussion. Bizuku Nelson says he's watching from Lambusi district. You know where Lambusi is? It's close to the border.
Wow.
Yes, at the north. So you are touching lives and doing things. But let's come to your junior sister before we round up at a point. Let's look at your challenges. Everybody seems to have very peculiar challenges. Human resource, tools and equipment, motivation. Do you have anything different apart from them?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of the challenges are general in terms of logistics and human resource. As Priscilla said, for traveling, people will travel, but the few that will stay, they need to be self-motivated and get the basic human resource, consumables and equipment to work with. Then again, if you look at this year's theme, our nurses are future, improving care. So improving the lives of nurses improves economy. So we are the economy. So once we are healthy, the economy is sound, the whole nation is sound. So if we don't improve the care of nurses, then I'm afraid it will be difficult. So I really love this year's theme. So once we are the future, the healthcare personnel are the future of the economy. So once the care is improved, of course, the economy will also do well. Then if in the context of ICU, I'm just praying for the day that ICU care will be part of the National Health Insurance. If you look at the cost, the financial cost on family members, ICU is paid out of pocket. In Ghana, the financial burden
is not on the
NHIS.
Wow.
Yes, and it's something that we all need to advocate for that. Family members are going through a lot. Some, they have to sell their assets to just take care of a loved one in the ICU. So I'm looking for the day that ICU care will be part of the National Health Insurance. And for me, it is a big challenge, because if you look at the kind of patients that come in the ICU, I'm sorry, they are not the well-to-do patients. It's usually the poor, and they don't have that. It's not because the patient doesn't have money, so the patient should die. No. As Florence Nightingale said, do no harm to the patient that ends up in the ICU. So irrespective of the patient status, we are there to provide care. So once the basic logistics are not there, the human resources are not there, the cost burden is not shared, it becomes difficult saving some of the patient's life. So for us as CCNs, we want to champion the financial burden, the cost on the family, relatives, and the patient to improve the care.
Before you land totally, what would take us to provide that optimal level of critical care to politicians in Ghana?
Interesting question.
Is there something that is missing? And if that thing is missing, what do we need to get to make sure they don't run it? What really is the why can't we do it here? Because during COVID, when we have critical cases and nobody was traveling, you held everybody down.
Yeah, so during the COVID, of course, nobody was traveling, and we held on to, taking care of these patients. The politicians. COVID affected everybody.
And you did it for some very significant politicians.
Yes, because the amenities were there.
Okay.
All the COVID centers were well resourced. We had logistics, we had human resource, we had human resource and logistics to take care of these patients, because COVID was really scary. And looking at the mortalities that some countries were recording, because our structures were well placed, we're able to take care of these patients.
So what lessons can you draw that can be sustainable lessons?
So the government just needs to replicate that. Okay. So those COVID centers that were established, within 100 days we established a COVID center.
Exactly.
With all the equipment and the human resource. So our emergency preparedness in this country, we really need to look at it.
Okay.
In terms of logistics, as I'm saying, and human resource. So you go to the ER. The basic things should be there. Your ABG machine should be there. Your suctioning machine.
You are running. What is ABG?
your blood gas analyzer.
What do you use that one for?
Oh.
If a patient comes,
if a patient comes, you need to know the oxygenating status of the patient.
Once the level of oxygen in the person's
once you are
body.
putting in a tube, you want to see the patient is hooked onto a ventilator, a live machine. You want to know how the patient is faring on the ventilator. So these are basic equipment that every ER and ICU should have across the country.
You are talking about equipment, you say basic. You also say basic. So this equipment we see as huge, they are actually basic.
They are basic. So I'm pleading to the health minister that logistics, human resource, we can't stop people from traveling.
Yeah.
People would stay, nurses would stay. We need to get things to work with so that the burnout is reduced. Then the condition of service, I don't want to go into it. I know tomorrow they are going to talk about it.
Great.
But the logistics is very important. the human resource, and just to improve patients' outcome.
Now, let Sammy do a summary on this challenges bit. Then you give us the future that we are looking at. Then we will round up from there. But Sammy, before you hit on your challenges, and you do that for us in about a minute or two, 7% of the country's GDP is hinged because of mental health. 7% of the country's GDP is lost due to mental health issues. And I'm sure you are so much aware of this data. Is this not of concern to anybody? And if it is, what other characteristics are there with regards to these challenges that is not being addressed, is being looked on? I mean, touch on this for us in a minute to two.
Thank you very much, Kobe. So I can say that popular mental health conditions like depression and anxiety causes so much to our GDP, because when people are depressed, they are not in the right frame of mind to be highly productive.
Exactly.
So usually they experience what we call presenteeism. So the person is present at work, but virtually unproductive. You know, so if you're looking at the productivity of the person for that day, it's basically low. That is to say that if we are able to take care of our mental health challenges, our productivity as a country would increase and we make progress. But unfortunately, when it comes to resourcing mental health services in the country, it looks like nobody cares, if I should put it that way. I mean, the mental health authority is not resourced to be able to go out there to make the necessary awareness. So as you are aware, this month, which is the month of May, we have dubbed it Purple Month, trying to create awareness on mental health issues, on maternal mental health. Because there are some women, when they go through pregnancy, from the time they get pregnant to the time they deliver 1 year after, they may be experiencing some mental health challenges, you know. But unfortunately, these things are not taken care of. And we have some of our women, today is Mother's Day, some women who are suffering because of they helping to keep society going just by normal childbirth. They go through some challenges, and if you don't resource nurses to be able to pick up some of these symptoms early enough to intervene so that so that it doesn't spread, or so that it doesn't become a chronic condition, then we are saving a lot of people. Because research also shows that, I mean, just like we got to know during the COVID, during the COVID time, mental challenges increased. But unfortunately, we can't reverse them. You know, we can't reverse them because they become chronic mental health conditions. It affects people's livelihood.
Wait. This is serious.
Yeah.
Everybody that develops some level of mental illness eventually is going to live with it.
Because it's one of the chronic conditions.
Wow.
It's just like hypertension, just like diabetes. We don't cure it, we manage it, you know. And unfortunately, if you're not careful and it breaks at an early stage, then you're going to have a whole career of having to live with a mental condition, taking medications. And sometimes it's very pathetic when you have somebody, some patients will tell you, I mean, Sammy, can you imagine me taking medication every morning and evening? Do you know how it feels like?
Sometimes I can't complete malaria course.
Just imagine. And somebody is taking here. So quickly to zoom this to our challenges. So, you know, we have some of our colleagues who are working in the interlands. They're having challenges with having to visit. There's evidence that shows that home visit by a health worker is a very productive, is a very protective factor, because when they go to their home, they're able to not only take care of the mental challenges, but general health conditions. I mean, okay. But do we have resources for these nurses to be able to move to their homes? Sometimes, you know, we have most of these mental nurses who are working are stationed to general hospitals. And if you're not lucky to have a head who is not interested in mental health challenges, it means they are not going to resource the mental health nurse to be able to go around to visit. Some people are having to even cross rivers to go to attend to patients. And I mean, they are not even being taken good care of, you know, in the first place. You know, as we talk about stress, most nurses are going through stress because they love the patient, they don't take up the patients. Within the limited logistics, so they give their all at all. But sometimes when they even go on break, they don't even have money to go on vacation. But the money itself is not enough. Or they even go on break, they go and do other work somewhere just so that they can keep head and soul up, you know, to take care of family. So most of our nurses are working through, and they are going through what you call burnout. Some of the nurses who are having challenges at their workplaces, they only burn out because they've done the same thing over and over again, and the rewards are not pleasing, you know. So some of the challenges that people are also having is sometimes stigma when it comes to mental health. The stigma even sometimes affects the health workers, you know. Some people look at you and say that, even our setup in our hospitals, where do we place the mental health office units? Usually close to the fevers units, usually at the access, some obscure corner. So when you even refer a patient there, even the long walk to that place even becomes a challenge. So these are all things that we have to do. The stigma is so big that we need to, some of the challenges that our people are also are having, you know. So I want to urge all nurses. Self-care is very important, because if you don't take off our mental health, take off our stress can push you to mental health challenges. It can also lead to some chronic physical conditions like diabetes, like hypertension, and all those things. So we are want to, on this occasion when we are going to celebrate International Day of the Nurse, nurses must make a conscious effort to take care of themselves, because when you are in the plane, the instruction is that when there is a disaster, fix your mask first before you can take care of even the baby. So nurses need to take care of themselves very well, so they want to take care of the patients who come through their hands.
Sister, I thought we were doing quite well trying to take care of ourselves, but other people are not taking good care of us, even though they've employed us and they've tasked us with work to do. Well, we'll get them. We'll get them. Hello, we'll get them. Yes. Right. So let's round up. Let's have some last words. I mean, let's have some last words. What is the future looking like for your group, your society? And maybe someone should tell us the effort that the Mother Association is doing for your society. Is it something you appreciate? Is it enough? What else are you looking forward to when you look at the future that we are going? So all of you will be hitting on this same thing. It will run through. So I would want you to take that first.
Thank you very much. For the way forward, we are looking up to, we are really appreciative of what our Mother Association has done. I think they've been there from the start. They helped supported, advocated for us for the creation of the grade of the nurse specialists, and they have pushed for some aspects of our conditions of service. They have supported, made inputs into policy, and even for the fact that we have been given an opportunity to contribute to this forum, I think it's worth commending. So we commend our Mother Association and our president for this initiative and then this opportunity. Like Olivera, we are asking for more. We are appealing to her to push more for the proper integration of the nurse specialists into the healthcare system. And then the integration has not been very smooth at all. Yeah. So, I mean, there's been challenges. But like we are saying, socialization is a new thing, and whether we like it or not, it is what is coming up. Everywhere, research has shown that the nurse or the medical professional with the specialized skills are better placed to care for the patient and to achieve better outcomes. So socialization is a new thing. They have to push for it. Everybody has to accept it. So we are appealing to our Mother Association to push more for the proper integration of the nurse specialists and all the other cadres of specialists, so that some of the challenges can be kept. And then this issue with the the master's program with the nurse specialists, college, mothers to liaise with the college so that they can push for that accreditation to be given. I'm sure that it will be a very good thing that will stem the tide for people who are going out there, in addition to the provision of the necessary resources, as in the facilities, the empowered professional, and then the logistics that you need to reduce the incidence of the low birth. Just to wrap up, the World Health Organization has said that by 2030, we're going to have road traffic accidents as one of the #1 cause of deaths globally and in even in developed countries. So if we are hitting at such a target, then we know that so far as we are having deaths and injuries, the EDs are going to be flooded.
The what?
the emergency department.
Okay, all right.
And then our sisters too will have increased burden.
Yes.
Yes, the critical care nurses. So we realize that it's very important that we expand our facilities and empower our nurses with that specialized skills in the emergency nursing so that we can provide the relevant care. Motivation and welfare is very key. We know that we can't talk about that now here.
Without, yeah.
But the welfare of the nurse, the emergency nurse, should be taken as a priority. Farmer Association can dwell on that for us. We'll be very appreciative. Thank you very much.
I will never allow this message to pass by to your junior sister. Because someone say, Lorinda Rue says, wonderful submission from CCN Anita. So she's also getting her fans and her flowers. And Lorinda Rule is actually watching from Bogatanga. So maybe you should take your point with regards to the future, the Mother Association, and your general advocacy call.
Yeah, so the future is very bright for critical care nurses and for nurses as a whole. And we also want to thank the Mother Association, that is the GRNMA, for all the support they give to all of us, our specialized groups. During our AGMs, they are there. They support us in diverse ways, and even as this platform to even sell our society to the public. We are grateful to them. And for advocacy, we'll continue to advocate for our nurses. The remuneration, the salary is still, we are still not there. We can only appeal to the government to really consider the quantum of work we do as nurse specialists by default, and just pay us as such what is due us. Because not all of us will get the opportunity to travel. Those of us who are still staying behind to serve Mother Ghana, we are just appealing to the government to consider the salary and also improve our services, enhance our area of work, logistics, human resource. And I know when all these things are done, it will go a long way to improve patient outcome and ourselves.
Someone whispered to me that I should remind you to say, not the fact, the line that not all of us will get the opportunity. The person say you have had plenty of opportunities. You have decided to help, stay and help. So as you have decided to stay and help, they should also be deliberate about your welfare.
Absolutely.
That's the comment we are also getting from somewhere. Ideas Coleman Adato says very educative program, and he's admiring the host and he's watching live from Pediatokope Island. Ideas, hold on.
But you did.
It's a new era now. Yes, we are on a new branding. But I will not allow Sami to have his last say, because today is Mother's Day. So you have your last, and then she will do the conclusion for us.
Okay, so thank you very much, Kobe, and thank you very much for this program. So what I'll say is that the government or the policymakers have to make good the adage that we know in Ghana, that they said that when you educate a man, you educate an individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate a whole community. So how come we are talking about affirmative action, you are talking about empowerment of women, and nurses' salaries are very low? Because I believe that by improving upon the welfare and economy of nurses, it impacts more than one person in the community. You know, I mean, look, you know that the numbers of females in the nursing profession are more. So one way by which you can do women empowerment is by improving the general salary, because generally the salaries are very, very low. In going forward, I mean, one of the issues for mental health nurses is about something we call risk allowance. I don't know how we will be able to couch it, but I know, though it has been factored in, it's a big concern for mental nurses, because other than the general challenge that they face in a hospital setting, there are sometimes physical attacks. There are sometimes, I mean, spitting of saliva on people's faces. You can imagine somebody who's having HIV/AIDS spitting on your face the whole day. The trauma that you have to go through and all that. So I think that the current administration of the GRNMA is doing awesome. If I should put it that way, just awesome. but we need to push more, you know, because now we have other smaller groups that we have to compete with. And we need to make sure that the current association is very attractive. So we'll ask for more strengthening of the specialized groups, because that also helps to organize the various specialized areas under the association. And by so doing, it makes the association more stronger and more powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanu. I've also got an information that to draw the attention of the panel that we are not competing with anybody. No. To be honest, we are not competing. They are learning from us. So if you also want to be aware of all the executive and the leadership Mr. Hanu spoke about and how much awesome and good work they are doing, you can get it directly in your GRNMA diary. If you don't have it, it is very much because you have not gone for it from your district. So go to your district chair. Please, you will be taken through just a short process. It will take less than 15 seconds. You dial and get your GRNMA diary. This is beautiful. I write my thoughts in mine, and it helps me focus and leading me to my goal, just as I am being taught here, to remain focused and go directly as what I'm doing. So, go for your GRNMA diary. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Stop what you are saying. I know. Stop what you are saying. Yeah. And our last one for our closure.
All right. Thank
this is
you.
not vote of thanks anyway, but you have to give thanks.
So, the way forward for Gaspon.
Yeah.
We are advocating for the government, at least, to look into the sponsoring the education of perioperative nurses. It's very important because there are times they say, yes, your leave, steady leave, comes with allowance and it should help, but it's not enough. So we would want monies voted down for sponsorship for perioperative nurses. Because when you are done with the program, you start practicing with your stress because you have financial situations to deal with. So you come to work, after work you are looking for other work to really get to meet your financial needs. So we need the government to look at that. We also would want to be motivated. Yes, the risk is associated with our work. You go to work, you are working, body fluids are splashing all over your face, and then it comes with certain nosocomial infections or infections being transmitted to you from the patient you are caring for. So these all comes with risks. There are some surgeries you need to do, and there are radiations that are taken. Some of the protectors are not very effective. The leads are broken in, but you need to use them because they are not in. These are all risks we are exposed to. So we would want those logistics to be made available to nurses. Yes, we thank our mother, our parents, GRNMA. GRNMA had been very, very helpful to the groups. GRNMA supports the societies quarterly to help us run our activities. Our hallmark is updating our members' knowledge with current trends when it comes to perioperative practice. So GRNMA supports for us quarterly, and then the annual support helps us to run these workshops for our members, and we are very grateful to GRNMA for all this. We thank you all.
Impressive. So many good comments. And I am just tickled to know that you are Madam Alice Alote's daughter.
No.
Who? You?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You don't know?
Wow. Very good. So, it's good that you are sustaining. I can see the facial expression and all that. Very good for sustaining the legacy. We are proud of you. We are so much proud of your mother, who is also my mother, and inspires all of us. The comment in suggests the same thing. We are having kudos to you, PON Veresimaka, with surgical skills we are safe. Well done to the society leader, especially Antivera Gaspon chairperson. Very insightful conversation. And this one says, in fact, blame mental health at the community level is not at all, little to no logistics. Great submissions. I greet you, Boss Priscilla, and we need more of this education. This is not just an education, this is a call to action that institutions and agencies, wherever they are listening to, watching, or maybe lurking around trying to listen with other accounts, we know you. Please make sure the nurse is satisfied, at least to a certain level. And if I take the words of Sami Hanu and all of them, supporting even a union with such a large number of women will be very critical to drive the entire economy forward. And if for one specialist group 7% of the country's GDP is affected, you can as well think about the other groups. This is why we're still going to continue this conversation, and we are happy that the leadership has made sure the Nurses Cafe has been able to hold this conversation here. We are most grateful to Madam President and the entire team, but most especially, Happy Mother's Day to all our women leadership and to you, all my panelists who are here. It's been me, Kobe Blay, moderating this special edition of the Nurses Cafe. Thank you to the GRNMA media for the production. Great, and see you another time.
Your back asset, you know they play my chumbares. Me see my jolly, but no bata me congo no. Baby congo so, you dey see me no fi kill am for my head. I need to know where you did. Oh yeah, send me a look kiki. Chapali girl no delay. Oh, my nest are not ready. I need to know where you did. Send me a look kiki. Chapali girl no delay. Oh, my nest are not ready. Come to my window. Oh, excellent, excellent, oh, excellent, excellent. You go put me for emergency. Shorty, excellent, excellent, oh, excellent, excellent. You go put me for emergency.
Tell me I need you. You make a I'm feeling you. All I want is you. Oh, yeah, tell me what I don't feel do. I you. Whatever you want, I could give you. Oh, my baby boo. 247, girl, I'm ready. Body set it. Go to my shit for my baby. Wanna do many things very crazy. Now she telling me, say she be Jency. She rockin' Fendi. Pull up in a Benzy. Bum bum, they offend me when she bend it. You go put me for him.
I need to know you did. Oh, yes, and me, all look again. Chapali, you know the day. Oh, the minutes are not dating. I need to know you did. Send me, all look again. Chapali, you know the day.
Ghana, there is a place that provides the most impeccable hospitality. GRNMA Hotel is where you experience the real meaning of comfort and relaxed ambience. From the biggest outdoor space and a garden for all outdoor events like wedding parties, funeral receptions, kids parties, and more. Free parking space for guests to the coziest lounge, which gives the warmest embrace while you get attended to by our well-trained staff. We have a large conference room for indoor events like wedding ceremonies, naming ceremonies, conferences, and other intimate gatherings. We offer bus rental and mobile swimming pool rental services. Make yourself at home in our standard rooms that have refrigerators, flat screen TV, a desk, and more. Or our deluxe room that features tea kettle, tea set, some snacks, sofa, and a bigger desk. The rooms come with a complimentary breakfast, strong internet connection, DSTV, and Netflix for our guests to chill with. Our restaurant serves the best continental and native dishes as well as the yummiest pizza you can ever find. We also have special Sunday services. Nasa kweside wiabre pan ya mutwe na nkatankwan, akrantinam, beef ne duanye gudo, ana fufu ne bunebu no chinam. Inyenza. GRNMA Hotel introduces a special Sunday sumptuous, healthy local dishes like tim tim fufu, banku, and rice balls with assorted soups, bushmeat, and fish. That's right. GRNMA Hotel serves these local dishes every Sunday from 10:30 a.m. Visit and enjoy a perfect local meal in a serene environment. Locate GRNMA Hotel off the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital Academy Road. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at GRNMA Hotel Cape Coast. Our website www.grnmacchotel.com. Call us on 050 000 4515 or 0332 150 511. Send us a mail on reservation.grnmahotel.cc@gmail.com. GRNMA Hotel, uniquely placed, welcoming ambience.